Hi, welcome to the Alyssa Goodman Show. And every week I get to interview a game changer in the wellness arena. And today I have Paula Mallis. She's the owner and creator of WMN Space, and she does so many fabulous things there with women, supportive, empowering. She's going to tell us all about what she does and how she got into this space, this women's empowerment space, which I love because we need it more than ever now, right, Paula? I mean,
Yes.
It's like so crucial.
Yes.
Women supporting women.
Yes.
So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
I wish I had you sooner. I've known you for a while and you're here now, but I just love your energy. And I got to go to a circle not too long ago, a couple weeks ago at WMN Space, and it was so beautiful. I remember coming home feeling so filled up and my heart was full, and I slept so beautifully that night. So all of that stuff just works so well. We just don't use it enough for each other. So
thank you.
So how did you get into all of this?
Yes. Let's see. How much time do we have? So I guess the best way to share about it is I am also a birth doula. And so when I was preparing for, conscious conception is what I call my process prior to, prior to conceiving my daughter Madeline, who's now 6.5 years old. And when I was pregnant with her, I just fully threw myself into all the books and all the opportunities that I really know now were an opportunity to really grow and evolve spiritually in my life. And birthing her, having a doula by my side during that process, just changed me forever. It was a truly transformational experience.
I mean, I understand. I mean, it sounds fabulous, but was there like a caveat to why you went that direction, or you just in your gut instincts knew that that's something that you wanted to further investigate?
It was just, I was definitely in a time in my life. I had just gotten married, and my husband and I had talked about, planning a family together. And I was also at a pivotal point in my life of really asking that question of, why am I here? Why am I on the planet? And really moving into a very simple meditation practice of just really asking and waiting to receive the answer. And so I just started to really get quiet enough to listen within, to then make my next action steps towards really what my life is today.
Wow. I mean, that in itself is so profound, because I think that we really need to teach women out there how to, and men as well, but how to do that for themselves.
Yes.
I think that is like the true essence of really healing and full health and mental and emotional well-being.
Yes,
right?
I completely agree. And for me, it takes the manifestation. The offering is through the work of doula, which means servant to a woman, or being of service to a woman. So every time I'm of service, I am in the role of doula and doula-ing, I like to call it. But really what it is just holding a loving space and giving a woman permission to go within to find the answers.
And what is the difference? I mean, we hear midwife, doula. Most people out there are confused at what each of those terms mean.
Yes, and there's a huge difference. So midwifery is more of the medical approach. Even though midwives do exist in the hospital, they also, of course, practice at home, but it's more of they have to have their medical hat on for the highest good and the care of their patient. And for doula support, it's emotional support, physical support. And for me, how I have embodied doulaing is the spiritual aspect. So really honoring the spiritual practice that can come around the process of conceiving, pregnancy, birth, and through motherhood.
Wow. So what you said earlier about conscious conception, that's fascinating. So can you talk a little more about that? Is that about sort of infertility potentially could be, or people not being able to get pregnant, or is it both spectrums, like someone who really just wants to be conscious before they get pregnant and while they're pregnant.
Yes, it's really all of those things. So depending on where the woman is in her journey. So with my daughter, I just thought about Madeline and pretty much got pregnant. So my conscious conception was short-lived.
Right.
But in conceiving my son, it was a 3-year process of infertility and challenges in my marriage and just a lot to work through and move through. And for me, when I think of conscious conception, on one way, on a group level, when I offer this as a workshop, I really honor that as women, we all have the capability to birth. That is our birthright.
Yeah.
So whether it's a human being or a business or a book or a project or a new version, birthing a new version of ourselves, I believe that as women, we're birthers. And then when I'm working privately with people, I'm either continuing a woman, supporting her on that birthing journey, or it could be more specific to connecting and calling in the soul of the baby that they're wanting and desiring to conceive.
Wow, that is so phenomenal. Have you written a book about this? Because
that's the big question lately.
Yes, yeah.
Where's the book?
Right, where's the book?
Waiting for that to move through me. So to be continued, yes. Yes.
Can you talk about these infamous women's circles that that started at your house and then grew and grew and grew? So I think that's pretty cool.
It is so cool. And a part of me, as much as I love where I am in the evolution of women's space and where we're heading, I miss that time at my home because it was so intimate and so special. And oh my gosh, my husband, just so grateful for him and his support, because at the time I just had Madeline. I didn't have both of my children. And so he, you know, women's circle night was daddy-daughter date night. So they would go out and then they would sneak back through the house, and like my husband would like put his fingers in his ears and Madeline would be whispering if they're like climbing up the stairs to like hide out, while I have anywhere from 15 to, at one point I had 50 women in my living room. And at first it started just by gathering the women that I love together to celebrate the new year and write intentions. And it was fun and it was a potluck. And then everyone was like, when's the next one? And then it became a monthly thing. And then it came twice a month. And then all of a sudden one day or one night I looked around and there are 50 women in my living room, some people hiding underneath the dining room table, like laying on my sofa.
Because there wasn't enough room?
Because there wasn't enough room, backed up against the front door.
Right.
And I was like, I got to do something with this that's happening, because I looked
like
around
right
the
in front of
room
your eyes.
and I didn't know anyone in the room, but like 2 or 3 people. There were strangers that had reached my home, and I had not put this on social media in any way. And so I really, again, went back to that place of just getting quiet enough to listen to what was the next action to take to be of service to the women that were called to show up and to be in my home.
Wow. So what kind of things happen at Women's Space? What are all the, because there's so many different modalities that go on there.
So many,
cool,
so much.
too.
It is. There's an abundant flow of offerings at Women's Space. So again, the work that I do is obviously at Women's Space, and then I collaborate with other leaders and facilitators, teachers and healers that feel called to align with the work that I am also doing. And it's just such a beautiful synergy to be able to have a space that not only I can partake in, but that other women can be in. And so last night we had a beautiful circle, Women of Color circle, which was so powerful, especially on the day that was held last night. It was just all very, really divinely timed, I feel like, when even we weren't completely conscious of that. And, and then other things from gut health to preparing for, I do a fertility circle, and then we have, you know, a Maiden to Mother circle where women share their birth stories, and really just however a woman is inspired to give or receive within Women's Space, that basically equals healing.
Right. Are you seeing a lot of women these days having a hard time receiving?
Yes.
That's a problem, right?
As women, and I'm sure you can relate to this, I know I do, easy to give. It's our
Right.
innate nature to give. We're givers. But I think the full embodiment of really experiencing ourselves as women is to also open ourselves up to receiving.
So how have you found that balance of giving, husband,
Yes.
2 kids, also all these women that count on you,
Yes.
as well as taking care of yourself?
Yes. Well, today's my day off.
Oh, well, lucky me, I got you on the day off.
But I'm so grateful to be here. But after this, I've booked a session for myself to receive body work from a woman who fully holds me, and she's there to be of service to me.
Right.
And I had to say no to someone else so I could give to myself. And I really try to, again, listen inwardly. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, I hear you that you need me to like take care of me, but I'm just going to keep pushing through and just be excited about everything moving, that's moving forward, like we were talking about earlier in these fast times. But then that voice really finally gets loud enough where it's like, okay, we've got to stop. We have got to pause, fill me up, so I can really give. And that's the other thing too, is I feel like as women, there's this old pattern of giving when we're on empty, and that's not even giving.
No, I know.
So when the cup runneth over, that's really when we can experience giving, that it fulfills us versus,
Right, absolutely.
affecting our adrenals.
Right, that's a big problem.
Yes.
Adrenal fatigue, adrenal burnout.
Exactly.
But so do you recommend, are there easy steps for women out there that, what's the first thing to do? Is it getting into meditation? Is it just trying to find some quiet time for yourself, just to hang out with yourself? That's so loosey-goosey for a lot of people. They don't really know what to do. Meditation is really popular, yoga, things like that. But is there something that you recommend that would be that they could do that's easy?
Yeah. Simplify, which
Their
I
life.
love, everything. Yes, I feel like for me, one of the biggest tools, which I feel like can sound so simple but be so powerful, is pause. Just pause.
So just add that into your vocabulary and into
Pause.
your,
Yes, pause
Did
and
I
then
pause
breathe.
today?
Breathe. Yeah, pause and breathe. That's it. No expectation. My meditation practice does not always look like legs crossed, hands in Gyan Mudra, and I'm like chanting along.
Right.
I love to chant. I love doing all of those things, but sometimes it's after drop off with my daughter and just pulling over and literally just pausing and taking a breath.
And quiet.
And quiet.
Time.
And setting an intention to shift.
Yeah.
Whatever thoughts may be coming forward, or if I'm in a space that doesn't feel centered, to pause. And then on a group level, there's something so powerful as you experienced when you came to Women's Space by sitting in circle, how you described the feeling of how you felt when you got home. So I feel like, of course, there's things I can do in my own private practice, and pausing is huge.
Right.
But then there's also something really powerful about taking the time out of our busy lives and sitting in circle with women intentionally, and that being the pause on a group level, and how powerful that is when we intentionally come together.
Right.
It's magic for me.
I bet. You were saying that night that when you do this, sometimes you can't sleep.
I cannot sleep after circle. As exhausted as I might be prior, which I openly shared at circle when you were there, as I'm so exhausted, but I'm so happy to be here. And every time after I lead circle, I have this wave of energy that comes through me that takes a minute for me to settle before then I can get a good night's rest. But I always experience my cup full and runneth over after sitting and being with women.
With the women, So I want to talk a little bit about infertility, because that's a big issue these days, and a lot of people are, frustrated with that happening. So what are you seeing a lot with some of the things, the symptoms, or not the symptoms, but what are the causes of some of this infertility?
Yeah. So
is it what we're talking about?
Yeah, of course, there's the physical level, which I know you beautifully support women in, and the nutritional piece, and really looking at that layer. And for me, that isn't necessarily where my expertise and training lie.
Right.
So I like to get right into the emotional stuff of like what's underneath it all. And then how can we bring a reframe to the infertility? And also how can we open ourselves up for it to be an opportunity to grow, evolve, and become more connected to who we really are within ourselves at the authentic level.
Right.
So I find that anything in our lives that can become challenging or cause any kind of upset are really an opportunity to shift.
Yeah.
And infertility, because of being a doula and that being my life's calling, I'm so passionate about working with women at that stage, because it's really the beginning of a journey that we get to be on together, which is such an honor to support women in that way. So, and because I had my own experience through the 3 years that we were calling my son in.
Right.
And I just didn't understand why this was happening to me.
Yeah.
And now I know, because it was a part of my learning and my growth. And then now I'm able to be of support and be of service to women in a way that I wouldn't be able to had I not been through that experience myself. I can really understand and have empathy for a woman who's really struggling with infertility.
It's interesting because I feel like I wish that we all knew. I wish I knew about this prior to having kids. I know that when I had children, most of us were all still working full time, really stressed out, just so, not really centered. And I see such a difference in the children who have had the support that you give women and not, or someone that just really does go deep or does yoga or just slows down. I mean, it's it's almost like night and day. The kids come out a little more mellower and not so anxious. And it's such a beautiful thing to watch.
It really is. And I can even see it in my own children because they're 6 years apart. So where I was in my life's journey with conceiving and being pregnant with Madeline was completely different than with Phoenix. And of course, they're going to be their own people, but I do see my experience in them. Yeah. And it's just really interesting to observe.
I bet. I also have to say I'm a little jealous because when you get to work with women this intimately and like follow them through this course of such a beautiful offering they give to the world and themselves and the family, it's so incredible to be able to be in on that and see it transpire and blossom.
Yes.
For people. I mean, I think having a child is the most incredible experience.
It is. I'm so honored to be a part of any journey that I get an opportunity to be a part of. I really do.
Will you continue the dueling? Will you continue that?
Yes. Yes. So I committed to my son for the first year of his life to not be on call. That's the one thing with birth doula work that can be challenging, is the being on call. I'm really holding that space because we don't know when baby's going to come.
Right, exactly.
So, but I am. For 2019, I'm opening myself back up to attending births. But in the meantime, I've been offering doula counseling. So I'm able to work with women who have experienced abortion, miscarriage, stillbirth, fertility, pregnancy, motherhood, just like holding for all of that prior to the birth or wherever they are on their journey. And that, since coming back after my experience of giving birth 10 months ago, has been the ultimate gift. Instead of having to wait to be of service to get to attending a birth, I'm able to really step into that dueling like I spoke about earlier.
That's so beautiful. Yeah. Taking care of yourself, like you said.
Yes.
So if you had one word to sum up your mission, what would that be?
Oh my gosh, wow, one word.
I know. That's always tough for people.
Oh my gosh, let's see. Shift.
No one's ever used that word before. I love it.
Shift, transformational shift.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, transformation.
and it really isn't not supposed to be that hard. Everybody can do it.
Of course,
right?
This is available to everyone.
Yeah,
everyone, and that I hope that if anyone gets anything out of anything that I have to share, that it's not specific to anyone. It's really available to all of us, men, women, children, all. It's our human right. I really believe that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So it's open to all of us and available to all of us. We should have to be open.
Well, that is a perfect place to end. So that was beautiful. And thank you for being on the show.
Melissa. Thank you.
Thank you.